Hey everybody, this is Steve Moore, owner of RUNMOORE. Today we're going to be talking about two Hoka carbon plated shoes and how they compare to each other. We're going to be talking about the brand new Cielo X1 and the Rocket X2. Hey, just a quick disclaimer, Hoka did not provide us with these shoes. Nobody asked us for our opinions. These are just our thoughts and ideas on these shoes from a guy who owns a shoe store and also runs in a lot of different shoes. Why don't we first start off with some of the spec differences between these two models. The Cielo comes in at $275 while the Rocket X2 is $250. The Cielo has a 39mm stack height while the Rocket X2 is 36mm. The Cielo is 9.1 ounces while the Rocket X2 is 8.3 ounces. The Cielo has a cut-out winged carbon fiber plate while the Rocket X2 is a full carbon plate. Let's first talk about the new Cielo X1. This shoe came out in February of this year, and I was super excited to get my hands on a pair and go run in it. And it's fun because I've run in a lot of different carbon plated shoes, and this is one that I had very high on my list to check out. There was a lot of things about this shoe that I liked and a lot of things I didn't necessarily love, but you know, a lot of that's just my own personal preference, so it might be different for you, but this shoe is a very high cushion stack height shoe, and they're really going after some of the higher competition stuff out there that you see in a lot of the pros' feet, a lot of stuff that we saw this past weekend in Orlando at the Olympic trials. This is a super oversized shoe. It's nice and light for how big this shoe looks in, and with its 7mm drop to it, you can really feel yourself propelled forward. In fact, I'm out here at the track today and I tried on a bunch of different carbon plated shoes, and it was fun because I was doing laps and trying different shoes, one on one foot, one on the other. But of all the ones I tried, this shoe, when I first started going, it almost felt like I was falling forward. Like you really had to keep up with this shoe. It is definitely propelling you forward, and it's a shoe that I can see why the benefits would be there for a long distance race shoe. Certainly something that I probably wouldn't put on for like a 5K, but for a long distance race where you're trying to find that nice efficiency, and you know, we talk about with the Hoka shoe feeling like a wheel under your foot where you try to get that momentum going and let the shoe carry you. This shoe right out of the box, I'm like, holy crap, I'm going in this shoe. It's really hard to almost pull yourself back in it because of the drop, because of the geometry of the shoe, because of the plate, it really does propel you forward. Comparing it to other carbon plated shoes as well with this winged concept in their plate, you can feel different sort of zones and tonal feeling of this shoe and where the stability is compared to something that's a full plate all the way through. It felt really nice underfoot. My arch felt protected, and I actually liked that it wasn't a full plate to it. It kind of helped give you that different feel from other shoes out there. I will say also though, because it's such a high stack height shoe, it's not something I personally love running in. I like stuff that's a little lower drop to it, which kind of like to me, I actually like the Rocket X2 just because it fits my foot a little bit differently. While this doesn't have that winged cutout carbon plate to it, I felt this shoe was a little easier to navigate, especially if I was doing some shorter, faster stuff. The lower stack height on this seemed to work for my foot better, and because also the drop is lower, and also it just felt like I was easier to turn and navigate a little bit better in this shoe. I didn't feel so like clumsy in it, and that was one thing I felt on this shoe is because it was such a massive stack height shoe, I found myself weaving a lot in it. I like going through different paces on the track when I'm trying out shoes like this, and the faster I went, the more I found myself all over lane one in it. I had to kind of really think and concentrate on making sure that I wasn't wasting energy. And again, if you're doing this shoe for like a long distance shoe, you want to make sure that efficiency is like way up in the key of what you're doing. So having a shoe that you're maybe wasting some energy is obviously not great. What I love about talking about shoes, quite frankly, is I spoke to some people who have been running in this shoe now, and it's funny because my opinions on this are so different from some other people. I talked to a guy yesterday who's in his 60s who loves trying out carbon plated shoes, and he's a heavier guy. He's like, this is the best carbon plated shoe I ever felt like. I just feel like I could run all day in it. And he's like a 5 to 6 hour marathon guy. I couldn't run in this shoe for that long, but he said for him, this is exactly what he's looking for a shoe for that long. So it really, I think the important thing is finding the shoe that lines up with sort of how long you're gonna be on your feet and the way that you like to run. This shoe is trying to make you run a specific way, where some of the lower drop shoes, like even the Rocket X2, is you can be your runner and this shoe will sort of accommodate it. But if you're looking to find a shoe that's gonna sort of help keep you moving and help kind of guide you along the way, and if you start getting sloppy, this shoe will make sure you're keeping going forward, then this might be something that's more in your wheelhouse. If you're looking for something maybe a little bit shorter and maybe something that's going to be a little bit speedier for some track stuff or even like 10-mile type races, then your Rocket X2 might be something that's more of your wheelhouse. Something on both of these shoes that I've noticed and that some other people have noticed, I don't love how hard it is to get on your foot. Really specifically the Cielo X1. This shoe is a disaster trying to get on. I really don't love the upper. I don't like the booty cup in it. The laces seem to come untied a lot. It's interesting for a shoe that obviously Hoka put a lot of time, energy, and money into, that some of the little things on this shoe, they just are unnecessary or overly complicated, or maybe they just thought too hard about it, because a lot of the other shoe is great, but some of the little things about this shoe, and especially a shoe that costs $275, they kind of left me scratching my head. So again, I would say it's just a me thing, but after watching a bunch of people try it on, I watched customers, I watched staff struggle to get their foot in this shoe. Once it's on, it's great, but man, it's kind of hard to navigate getting yourself in and out of this shoe. So if it's something you're gonna pop on right before a race, make sure you give yourself a good 5 minutes to get yourself locked into this shoe. But look, I'm sure you're wondering, how does it compare to all the other carbon plated shoes out there right now? And honestly, I have a bunch in my collection that I pull through, and depending on what I'm looking for, I might pull a different model. I think that's what's important, is there's so many great shoes out there, and finding the right one for you. Are you somebody who wants something that's like super oversized and really soft underfoot, like a New Balance? Are you looking for something that's got like a lower stack height to it that feels a little speedier and firmer underfoot? There's a variety of shoes out there, and finding the right one that works with not just your foot, but the distances that you're running is paramount. I know how hard it is because these are expensive shoes, and it's hard to be able to go pick up a bunch. And even like at my shop, I carry a lot of shoes, but I don't carry a ton of carbon plated shoes because we don't have that many people that come in looking to drop this kind of cash on a shoe all the time. So it's really important to do your own research and find out things that work for you, because while right now we get more questions on the Hoka carbon plated shoes because it is such a big brand name out there and their stuff is so oversized and cushy, but like it doesn't necessarily work for me. I might like something, personally, I like something that's a little bit lower to the ground. I like something that I feel a little bit firmer. I love this Metasky, but that's just me. It's important for you to kind of do your own research, but there's a lot of great options right now. It's a really exciting time for shoes because there is so many good performance shoes out there. And if you're somebody who's looking to set some great PRs in 2024, now is the time to start digging in to figure out what you like in your shoes and which one of the great carbon plated shoes out there makes sense for your foot and your race distances. I hope this kind of helped to get you thinking a little bit about what your goals are for this year and the shoes that you're hoping to put on your feet. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you found it exciting and helpful, do me a solid, like and subscribe. And if you're looking to purchase any fine shoe, we'll have a link down below to our online store. If you enter promo code RUNMOORE, just one word, RUNMOORE, you'll save 10%. We'll ship it out for free. Thank you so much. Happy running. See you around town.